Hi guys, and welcome to Angling For You, and today you join me on a new venue. It's called Nether Mill Fishery. It's around the Barnsley area, and it's somewhere we've just not fished at all. It's a lovely little venue, sort of almost like a little strip pond with islands running down the middle, and we'll flip round, I'm sure. You might have even seen it in the intro. Just a lovely looking pond, very cold this morning. It's sat slightly down in a hill, which makes it cold, but it is meant to get up to around the 12-14 degrees might be today, so it might be a change in the approach to another video. But what I'm going to start off with is a little cage feeder, maggots on the hook. I've also got some expanders, which I will show you, some pro expanders, some krill ones, to potentially pick out the bigger fish if I feel that they're in the peg. But we're going to start off with maggots. I'm going to go with a nice ground bait mix, which I'm going to show you how to make, with a ground bait that I've just got from Jamie's mystery box. If you haven't seen the revealing of the mystery box video, then do give that a check out. With a few other little goodies out there as well, to try and make a nice fizzy active mix. It's a mixed fishery. They've just stocked a while back with some small F1s, some small chubs, some small barbel. There's plenty of roach and carp and things like bream like that. So today I've never fished it, so I'm going with a simple approach that can catch everything effectively. So the ground bait, we'll go in close and we'll talk about it a little bit, because I did a little bit of filming on another venue about this product. Unfortunately the camera played up after that, so I have got that footage, so we'll insert that around this time. So as you know, Jamie Harrison sent us a fantastic mystery box of ground baits. This one from Bolands is something that is making a little bit of splash. I've done a little bit of research, and it's getting used more and more, especially on natural venues. It's Polish, but it's coming over via reps, a bit like Champions Feed, Monster Baits do, and it's in some tackle shops, but mainly it's a case of getting in touch and getting it delivered to your house. It comes in a massive whacking 3 kilo bag, so you're getting a bit more value for your money. I'll put all the description and the links and the prices and all that kind of stuff in the bio, and I'll get them popping up while we're mixing it. So what we're going to do is mix it. It looks like I say, it's basically aimed at roach, which means it's probably going to be high attraction, fizzy. It looks like it's got plenty of particles in there. It's got a little reddy tinge to it, which I'm sure will be great for F1s, and we'll give that a good go. So we'll go onto the ground bait bucket, we'll give it a mix. You can have a look at the textures. Like I say, I've never used it before, so it's new to me. We'll see how the water absorption works on it, and what the texture's like, and get it to out the desired that we want. We'll also put a little bit into a bit of water, and you can see how it reacts when it goes into the water, and fingers crossed we'll catch some fish in it. What we're going to use is this base, which is it's going to be quite an active base. I'm not going to put absolutely tons in. The good thing is these bags are coming 3 kilo bags, so you do get your value for money. And I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but in there is a lot of different particles. It smells super sweet. It does take quite a bit of water because it's, you know, a fizzy and probably a lot of brown crumb in there, an active mix, and it's not too deep out there. Kelv's been prodding around, it's around 3.5 foot, so it's perfect explosive ground bait for what I want to do today. So I'm going to make it quite heavy, but I've got a couple of additives that I'm going to use from Jamie's boxes that he sent me. So this fish meal, now there's obviously carp in there. This is going to give it a little bit more structure, because you can mix this fish meal bait tech up for a paste mix, so it's going to give it a little bit more structure, hopefully stay in the feeder a little bit longer just while it hits the bottom, but then break up to be that active fizzy mix. And I'm going to add nearly all of that, if I'm honest, just to give it, like I say, that little bit of structure. And the other one I've got, it's got pictures of bream and roach and stuff like that. It's a Van der Nine Secret. It's an M Secret. So again, it smells so sweet, and it just smells buttery. It's delicious. And again, it's just another additive, trying to give it put some layers into the ground bait, trying to give it that sweet, attractive smell that'll bring fish in the cold weather. So again, I'm just going to add the same amount as I've just done of the fish meal. And the last one is a Van der Nine liquid booster, and this is a Scopex. So I'm staying with that theme, carp and silvers and bream and sweet flavour, effectively, and that's what we're going with today. So before I do anything else, I'm just going to give that a mix up, together and get some of this in. I mean, that just smells like toffee. As I'm sure you're all aware if you've ever used Scopex before. So I've just, put about a fourth of a bottle in there. So, we've got over a kilo mix here, and I can smell it now. It's super sweet, and it's not going to do anything in regards to pulling the mixture together. That's what we need the old water for. And I'm not bothered about this mix being slightly over wetted today. We're gonna riddle it, but I want it to stay in that feeder to go down with it being a cage. So I'm not too fussed if we over wet it. And it does take quite a lot of water. And what we're going to do with that, as you can see, that's sort of what I would call down the edge wet. And so it is quite a wet mix. But what we're going to do is leave that sort of half an hour. And there's so much brown crumb in there, it'll absorb that, and it'll start to potentially be around the right consistency that we need to fish it. I'm not going to overwork it. Like I said, I want it to be quite active. I'm going to pass it through the riddle, which will add a bit of aeration to it, and we should be good to go. And like I said, we've got maggots, got the old expanders. Again, this is out Jamie's box. These are krill expanders, 8 mils. So if I see there's any signs of topping of carp and things around like that, or I'm getting big liners, then I might put the odd one on just to check. But the main attack today is going to be the sort of double, triple maggot, and we'll see how we get on. So, right guys, so we've got, give it 15 minutes or so. It's still wet, so it does absorb well, so but I am going to give it a little bit more. And the reason is I want it to really go down to the bottom. We've got 5 foot of depth here today, so I do want ground bait that's going to stay on the bottom. I'd say if you're going to put it into a feeder, if it's a cage, you're probably alright, but it's not really designed, I don't think, to be a method mix, although I think a little bit less, and it may stick on a method. It's more of a cage feeder, natural style bait. So what we're going to do is get it riddled. What I'll do it is in batches, so put about half your mixture in. You don't want to overload your riddle first, and get that pushed through. You can see it's quite wet because we want that to get it down to the bottom. And you don't really have to riddle it if it's too wet, if you don't want to. It's force of habit. I still like to riddle it even if it's wet, because the reason that is because obviously if it's wet, you're just throwing it in down the edge or fishing it on the deck. It don't really matter too much. You only want a refined one when you've got it feeder, but I always riddle it through. And what we're going to do is, once we riddle this through, in a second, I do apologise for my cold. I have got a terrible cold this week. Is once we run it through here, which it nearly is, we're going to do a little test in that water, and we'll get it close on camera. Taking a little bit longer, like I said, is purely because we put a lot of water in it, and you can mix it lighter than this. But for what I want, that's going to be perfect. You see, it's aerated the mix now, so when you aerate it, it'll be nice and active in the water. And we're going to ball that up. You can see that balls perfectly. So if you're throwing it in on your canal line or onto your rivers, or even if you're balling it in on a still water like I am, it's a perfect mixture. So what we'll do is just leave that there 1 second. Just going to move that water, and I'm going to change the camera and we'll see up close what it looks like. Right boys, so you can see the water. We're just going to get a little ball of groundnut. I'm just going to drop it in there and we'll have a little look. You see it starts to break down nicely, and it's got like a nice little bit of fizz to it. You can see a few bubbles coming off there. You can see the separation comes into a lovely little pile. You can see why we've overwetted it, because it is quite an active mix, so we want it to get right to the bottom before it separates. So we've got it wetter, so then we can get that in a little bit deeper water and tight, so then it can get down to the deck. You can see it now separating really well in a nice little pile. We're going to put a few loose feed in with it while when we cup it in, and you can see just a beautiful looking texture to it. So let's get on the box, let's get I'll get some ground bait in, and then we'll have a little chat about the rig, and we can get fishing. Right guys, so I know it's you can't see up close, we'll do all that close up, but just riddled the mix, and added a little bit more water as it absorbed all that, and it went, so we're at a damp consistency now, which I'll show you up close in a little bit. Got double maggot on, little guru cage, and I'm just fishing that in line. We've got a reed patch that's just off the end of this island, and we're fishing a little bit off it because it is quite reedy there. And we just fish that single maggot. We've got the line sunk, and we're waiting for that indication. We're not put any feed in later on. If I find that we start to bring more carp or bigger fish, and maybe that starts to introduce some 4 mils into the mixture. But at the moment, it's got some natural particles, and that's what we're going to go with. A ferocious little tap there. That could have been a small fish or a liner, but it was a definite tap, which is good, guys. Obviously what I've done is I've just after that first cast, I've just dropped it back another foot, as what we've just found by looking at Kelv's peg is that there's a lily pad, a sunken lily pad there. And I was just getting caught up on the edge, so I've worked my way to the edge of it. So even though you can't see and it looks like I'm casting way off the island, I'm actually onto this, just under this lily pad on the front of it. So that's, judging by that first bite, looking like where we want to be. And that was a liner, what looked like a silverfish liner. Looks like a little quick stab at it. But like I say, I have no idea what to expect. We're going with a tactic that catches all fish, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to show you. It's just one of the ways I approach new venues, if ground bait's permitted, of course. And you know, maggot is just the ideal bait, really. It catches everything, and it's what you feel confident in. Corn is another one that I tend to take to a lot of venues, but it's always good to do a bit of research. To be fair, we couldn't find too much on this venue, but I'm hoping with just a regular, steady casting regime that we can introduce a little bit of bait. It's not heavy feed content, and it'll attract the fish, and hopefully we'll have a good day. There's a little drop back there. A little drop. Nothing on there, but I was very skimmery. So these are just positive signs, and I'm not too worried about striking these kind of signs to start off with, because it's allowing me to introduce a little bit of bait. Like I said, it's only a small feeder to start off with, so we're only putting minimal amounts of bait in every time. As long as you can cast accurately, then you're fine. That's bang on the same mark again. Just tighten up, sunk the tip as always. Very important thing that you do. And sink all that line off the surface. Today there's no particular tow, or there's no wind, but you need to be in that habit of doing that, of just getting that line sunk, so there's no tow, there's tension, the items are on the surface, they can't interfere with you bite you directly to the fish, and that's what you want. But it's certainly warming up already. This morning it was Arctic this morning, but we have got a nice little bit of sun coming off my right shoulder, and I'm hoping it's going to go behind me and not in front of me and glare me to death, otherwise the old shades are going to come out. I think what I'll do is we'll try and do a nice video on this, and then we'll sort of see how we can apply this method to the pole line on another video, and that's maybe where the expanders may come in as well as the maggots. But we'll see how we get on. Right guys, we're into the first fish. This feels like a small little F1 or something like that. Lovely little bite as soon as it hit the water, straight round. And a small little fish. Putting up a nice little account of itself. Nice little F1 in the corner of the mouth. There we go guys. Lovely golden F1 in the sunshine. Beautiful little fish. Got to be close to a pound, that one. Now I'm hoping that we're going to have a nice little run of these, because I've had a few awkward bites to start off with, which notoriously F1 bites can be, but they seem to have homed into that ground bait rather fast, which is good. So it's going to nick on a couple more maggots. I do like to go red and white, that's just my thing. If I'm tench fishing, a lot of the time I start off with double white. Don't ask me why. I don't know why, but it's same as everybody. You get a confidence thing, don't you, of a certain setup of bait. And like if I'm fishing for perch, then I always use double red. If I'm fishing maggots, that is. I think it's that predatory colour, isn't it, red? It's only a little chucker we've got out there, probably 22 metres, something like that. And like I said, I can see it now that the lights stop blinding me. There's a patch of lilies all around that corner, and I can sort of see that quite clearly now, but before I couldn't. And so I had a couple of snag issues. Nothing that sort of no lost gear, but just felt my way through it and got on the edge of it. There's loads of little liners of fish down there. Again on the bait. It's like I said, it's a very active mix, highly attractive, as you see that the fish are. There's a lot of movement down there, and obviously fish are moving into the area. Hopefully these ducks are going to move out of the area, because I hate fishing when there's birds messing about with your area. So annoying. But we've just found that now that it's just off those lilies, to me it feels like almost like a little ambush area where it's just, they can just pop out. There's a nice little pad of bait there, and they can come and out the lilies of safety and just nibble on my maggots, hopefully. Into another little fish. That was a drop back bite, and when you get those guys, that's usually when the fish are coming towards you. This one's a really small little thing. It's a little tiny F1. This looks like a newly stocked F1, this one does. These are only sort of 6 ounce or so, but the one I had before were a little bit better size. And these could be the culprits of these crazy fast bites. A lovely little fish, beautiful little thing. let's get him back. We'll try and have one more fish, and then what we'll do is we'll have a little look in closer at the rig, and how we're sort of baiting that up in regards to ground bait. And fingers crossed, we'll continue on this good little bit of farm. So I'm just gonna throw this back out. If we can sneak another one. And in close, it's very clear. I can see right down at the sort of edgeway here. Seems to get that perfect range now, where it just sits in front of those lilies, and that's the thing, guys. You know, have a little cast around with a bomb, or you know, something with no hook on, and have a little find out. And obviously we've found out about that little bit of a patch and just worked his way into this side of it. And sometimes you have to do that. I mean, you don't know venues, you've no idea. Before, visually, you couldn't see the lilies. Lots of little liners and taps. We're in again. Again, this just feels like one of these small F1s. You always tell the F1s chugging away. And then that is. If we continue with these all afternoon, it'll be a lovely little day. Oh, a lovely little venue and perfect spring weather. Looked right in the corner of the lip. And again, another lovely little F1. What we'll do now is we'll bring the camera close. We'll have a little look at the rig and talk about the ground bait and see how we're catching these little beauties. Right guys, let's have a look at the bait and the tackle that we need to fish this method. We're fishing with a Daiwa End Zone Z 10 foot with a Daiwa Ninja 3000 reel using 5 pound Maxima line, and then we are fishing it to a little Guru inline cage. This is a 20 gram and we've got some of the MCX hook links that I don't know if the video might have been out or might not have been out before you see this one, and effectively we're just trying them out. It's on monofilament and they're a little bit stiffer, size 18 hook, one obviously a matrix hook, and really simple with those double maggots just attached on there, nothing crazy. And in regards to the bait, it's nice and fluffy now and aerated. You can see about how we're getting its softness, you can see there, and if I squeeze it you can see it is quite wet, but that's important for that sort of explosion in the water, and that's what's creating that fizz but not too much feed, which is obviously keeping the fish active. So let's get this thrown in and hopefully we'll be into another fish. Most important thing, once you get your bait right, is casting accurate, and I'm within sort of 6 inches every time that drops in the water, and that's really important. Really important that you're in with that sort of 6 inches or as close as you can get to that 6 inches in a square box to keep those fish together and line them up effectively. And that's really, really important when feeder fishing. That's probably one of the most important things when you are feeder fishing commercials, is just that accuracy. There we go, straight away. This one feels a little bit better than the other one, so it could be another one of those pounders, but just proves that how they're just on that bait, and that Bolands Groundbait is just working fantastic. Those little bits of sweet attraction from the Scopex F1s, as we know, love a bit of sweetness, can't resist it. And this one's a chubby little beast, is this one. We'll get him on hooked, and at least you're going to see him up close. And again, perfectly hooked inside the lip. Just absolutely bang on. And you see, another lovely little F1. Let's put him back in the net, get him back in the water, we'll move the camera back out, and we'll continue, hopefully, to catch. Lovely bite there. Another one of these little crazy baby F1s. There we go. In the net. And again, beautifully hooked in the top lip. Actually had that one on a single red, so it might mitigate a few missed bites, because when you're fishing the doubles, obviously if they're smaller fish, they don't always get the hook in the mouth, so if they're going to take a single, then that might work better to get a better hook hold with it being a small hook. There we go. It's another fish. They're just like another one of these small F1s. It is. A tiny little F1. It's the smallest of the day, this one. Cute little thing. And again, just perfectly hooked in that outside of that top lip. Beautiful little fish. Right guys, I think what we'll do is we'll have another go, and then we'll finish this video for today, and I'll continue to fish and see if I can get some other methods done for you today. But what a fantastic little venue. You know, it was -1 this morning. -1 it was when we got here. The frost on the ground. We had to walk round. It's freezing cold. And like that, sun's just come out, and you know this groundbait mix is working a treat, and and Bolands is, like I say in the start of this build, is sort of more of a natural venue thing, but more anglers are using it on commercials because it creates that fantastic cloud, and they can mix it in with method mixers. You can use it down the edge, you can use it for sloppy, you know, shallow fishing. It's got a lot of uses. A little liner there. Got a lot of uses, and it's certainly doing the business today. It's a little quick bite. Those littler fish, obviously they don't hang about with it, so sometimes they're easy to miss when you're fishing at distance, the littler fish. But it looks like it's going to be an enjoyable day. We're only just starting the day, and well, looks like it's going to be a good little session. A little fish, a little drop back bite, that one. Another one of these small F1s. Beautiful little things these are. I'd rather catch these than catch roach all day. Beautiful little things. Right guys, so hopefully this has been an helpful video to you, and just one way that I look at approaching new venues, and this one's a beautiful little venue. I'm going to fish on with this method for another hour I reckon, and then I'm going to start looking at priming another line, and I'll have a look at how that looks on another video hopefully, and you can see us hopefully catch and do as well as we ever done on this line. So if you want to join us on the Facebook group, we've got around 6,000 members on there now. They're really active, great for advice. They post the photos, you can post your live feeds, all sorts of stuff we do on there. And then if you just want to do photos, join us on angling_for_you on Instagram and see what we're up to. And if you want to search for other videos, different venues, equipment, bait, all sorts of things, just look through the playlist Angling For You on the YouTube, and there's absolutely hundreds and hundreds of videos on there that can hopefully satisfy what you need to look for. And finally, if you could like, share and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. Share with your friends. And until the next one guys, thank you very much for watching, and tight lines.